Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our e-commerce in China webinar, Australian Business Consulting and Solutions International Trade Team. Looks forward to taking you on a journey, preparing you and giving you advice on e-commerce in China. My name's Ian Bennett. I'm the Senior Manager International Trade with Australian Business Consulting and Solutions. We specialise in helping SMEs on their export journey. For my background, I've been working through international trade in various areas for over 30 years. And just like international trade itself, I've gone from the traditional trading to understanding and working with companies in the e-commerce space. My colleagues, Sarah Cheng.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Cheng. I'm the manager for Greater China region with Australian Business Consulting and Solutions. It's my pleasure to share our knowledge and experience on e-commerce market in China in the next 60 minutes. In the past 20 years, I have worked both in Australia and China, working with companies and help them to do business overseas. And in the past 10 years with Australian Business Consulting and Solutions, I have worked with over 200 companies, help them to import, export, and invest in China. So I hope today you can get a few takeaways and ideas from this session.
Right, today's topics are your products suitable for China? Are they suitable for e-commerce? The e-commerce channels in China, the operational must-knows, looking at labeling, production, payments, logistics, and are you mentally ready for China itself? We have received a number of questions during registration. We'll try and address most of those during this presentation, or if we do not, we will have a short Q&A sessions after the formal presentation. And for the ones that are more complex, we'll come back to you directly via phone. Okay, China itself has had an interesting journey. It started off as an agrarian society and was rather self-sufficient and was not very well connected with the outside world. But today, it's become a sophisticated, cosmopolitan number of cities that make up the Greater China itself. It is moving forward in a very, very quick space. The consumer themselves are becoming sophisticated. There's a substantial number of high wealth individuals, and moving from that agrarian society to a sophisticated society, the purchasing habits have also moved in line with modern times, and China has been very, very quick to adopt the e-commerce purchasing patterns as a way of life.
Okay, before we look at your products, let's have a bit understanding of China's national strategy and hence what China as a country needs most at this stage. In recent years, China has shifted its national strategy from economic growth to a sustainable economy and the well-being of its people. So hence, Chinese government is dedicated to increase its people's income, to build better infrastructure, and go green. Hence, I see three opportunities, major opportunities. There are more opportunities, but I would say I see three major opportunities for Australian exporters: to export consumer goods to China, to export business and professional services to China, and also provide green energy and products and technology to China.
You can see from the current trade figures, Australia is one of the unique countries in the world where our exports to China are greater than our imports. I know this may seem a little bit strange to you, that I know that if I walked into any department store, I will definitely find products made from China. In fact, I'll probably find a majority of products made in China. yet Australia as an exporting nation, we've achieved what other countries would love to have, and that is a positive balance of trade. This has occurred over a number of years. In the 1980s, we were selling sort of light industry machine products to China because they weren't really making that sort of things. The mining resources boom came in the 1990s. Services started to move to China in the 2000s. But the 2010 actually became the start of the massive consumer consumption of Australian goods. The demographic within China started to show that there were high wealth individuals now evolving who wanted to have quality, well-priced product that suits their lifestyle. This new century, particularly the last 10 years, has shown us phenomenal growth of consumer product spending. You can see that Australian products were basically crude materials. Food and agriculture did play it in there. Machinery and equipment had a small sector. Chemicals and medicaments, and once again, a smaller sector. Services started to becoming quite important. Services are an e-commerce product. It covers education, tourism, management training, and provides a pretty substantial marketplace for you, which we sort of explore a bit further on as we move through. What sort of products does China need in the services? We're looking at lifestyle products. We're looking at education for children, vocational training, aged care, tourism, and professional services, products like project management, advanced technology. There's a lot of IP, but a lot of these things can be sold online. As far as products, food and beverage, obviously including wine, health products, the nutraceutical markets, cosmetics and toiletries, products for children. They like sophisticated Western type products. We even move into the home decoration and renovation, fashion, jewelry and accessories. So there's still quite a wide range of products which fit the e-commerce module. What sells good from Australia? Obviously wine is one of the high sellers, but Australia is perceived in China as being green, clean, natural and high quality, which does in many cases make our products high on the list of consumer choice. We know that we probably cannot produce enough milk powder to sell in China right now. Our seafoods, our olive oils, as I mentioned, skincare products, health products, wool products, fashion, tourism, education, and architect are seen as some of the products that are selling really well in China right now. We now move forward into talking about, are your products and services suitable for an e-commerce market in China?
Okay, if your products are needed by China, great, congratulations. But being in great need of by China is not a sufficient factor for you to succeed in the e-commerce world in China. So let's have a quick look at the e-commerce landscape in China and see if your product meets the specific criteria to succeed by selling online in China. Based on a recent report by The Economist, China actually will become the world's largest e-commerce marketplace in 2015, so within 2 years' time. And each year, over 30 million Chinese go online to do shopping for the first time. And an average Chinese online shopper will spend around $1,000 on 1,000 Chinese yuan per purchase, which is roughly what an average American online shopper will spend at this stage. And also, China's online retail will contribute 7% of its total retail sales by the end of this year. China's e-commerce market has grown by 45% on a yearly basis in the past 3 years. So it's a very inspirational. There's lots of really exciting figures there. And this chart shows you the high growth of the B2C markets in terms of revenue and the number of customers. And also, let's have a quick look at of an online Chinese consumer. In China, you have a better chance to have an online customer who is a male, aged between 20 to 29, living in an urban area. He logs on internet and on his desktop or mobile at home, and then he sends messages, watch video, and blog on internet. And around 42.9% of these internet users do online shopping, which makes China an attractive e-market with over 240 million online shoppers, which is 10 times of Australia's population. This pie chart shows the major products which are sold online in China. As you can see, books and audio products, food and beverage, fashion products, electronic products, major contributor to China's online retail. But if you're not selling these products, don't feel discouraged. Even some other products, even they contribute to a small percentage of China's total online sale, still may find a good niche market. Let's take cosmetics as an example. Cosmetics contribute 5% of China's total online retail, but that is still a lucrative, huge market worth of 2.8 billion Australian dollars, or equivalent to Australian dollars, out of China's total online retail market of $57 billion.
So you can see that even a small sector of the e-commerce market that we've identified in the previous slide gives a $2.8 billion market. And having just 1% of that would be a pretty nice thing to have. But looking at the products that are marketed, looking at preparing yourself for the e-commerce market, your products have got to have appealing design. As the online shopper will not be able to do the traditional retail face-to-face touch, see and smell of a product. The product must start selling itself without that attribute. Your product must be positioned quality versus the desired price range. You must have high visibility and transparency on the internet, which we'll come to in a moment. The other important thing is your product has got to be packaged so it can travel an e-commerce delivery journey. Now, the infrastructure Sarah will talk about shortly, but the packaging must be not only appealing itself along with the product, but it must be durable for this journey. Because in China, we'll find that the social media avenues become your greatest marketing tool. So if you get yourself prepared to be in social media, that's where the buying cycle starts in a lot of cases. And to get yourself onto the social media, you've got to have that appealing design and high visibility so you can attract the social media gurus who run through that space to look for products to buy online so they don't have to go down the traditional journey of online, of physical selling.
Okay, so, well, if your products are needed by China and perfect for selling online, that's great. And how do you sell? What models are available and who should you work with? Okay, so if you are looking at promoting your products and services and selling your products and services to the business sector, which is business-to-business model or B2B model, there are three most popular channels to sell online to business. The first one is industry congregation in marketplaces. They are industry-focused vertical portals. However, most of such vertical portals or marketplaces provide online marketing channels rather than handle online transactions. If they do, some of them are not quite established. The other options, which is adopted by lots of businesses for B2B, is to have the online order section on your own website or on your Chinese distributor's website. So under this model, you provide login details for your regular customers, and they can place order online. This model works really well for online service or information knowledge provider, travel agencies, industrial parts and equipment suppliers, consumer goods wholesalers, and some other sectors as well. If you are looking at to sell directly to the end customer sector, which is business to consumer or B2C model, you have quite a few options to sell in China. This chart shows the models you may have, some most popular models you may have. An easy start is to add an online order function on your own website. It might be your current English website, or you might have a Chinese edition of your website. However, just having the online function does not guarantee you have clients. You do need to conduct online marketing and to attract traffic to your website. We'll talk about online marketing at a later slide. Also, you may leverage your Chinese distributor's website. And then you may join other multi-brand specialty stores. Multi-brand specialty stores are those stores which focus on one product category but handle and sells multi-brands. Or you may have your own brand store. That is your brand, then you only sell your product. You may manage the store by yourself, or you appoint a third party to manage a store in China. And for some really established consumer goods providers, it is really great if you have an independent brand store, which is supplementary to your brand store on other e-marketplaces. So your selling model, end of the day, really depends on your strategy, your resources, and your experience with China. So here is a list of the top Chinese B2C websites. Tmall and JD.com are the major players. They pretty much dominate the market. As you can see, Tmall attracts over 400 million visits each month. And some stores on this list are industry vertical marketplaces, B2C marketplaces. For example, Suning.com is most competent in selling electronic goods, white goods. Dangdang is more like an online store, online bookstore. Jumei.com focuses on cosmetic products. OneCoin enjoys a big brand among young professionals for its fashion products.
Right, as you can see from that previous slide, if you add up the numbers, there is over 1 billion visits per month to those selected online stores. It doesn't mean that there's a billion transactions, but it's a number that probably doesn't have reality in Australia, that there is 1 billion people, 1 billion visits to online B2C stores. 50% of the people who visit these online stores are actual shoppers. There's about 70,000 brands across these range of online service providers, and there's about 50,000 stores. There are a number of ways. Take Tmall, for example. There are a number of store options. There can be a virtual department store like a David Jones or a Myers, where there is a multitude of products, brands, and suppliers. There is the multi-brand specialty store, which Sarah just started expanding on, which could be in the fashion or footwear area, or the TCF area, or the nutraceuticals, cosmetics, and toiletries. where they specialize in a specific industry vertical and they have many brands in the one store. You can have the single brand store, which is normally your store. So on these major shopping entities, you can have your own brand. You can have your own store and promote exclusively your own products, whether they be a single product or a range of products across different verticals. Then you can have your flagship store, which is basically a marketing exercise to put your brand out in a very forceful way to attract buyers and also attract the social media people that are looking for new opportunities, new products. And if a flagship store is there, which is quite substantial, you then get the hits that you're looking for. The virtual department stores give you, if you came in through a virtual department store, which is a multi-product, multi-brand store, you can actually put your store in there, your product in there, in a fairly simple way, and it'll give you some idea to test the market to see if you actually want to go to a single brand store or if you should be better suited in a multi-brand store rather than a department store. So there's quite a number of options that you can move through here to test your product, test your pricing, test your consumer acceptance of your products. Now, an example we have here is, you can see down the bottom, sorry, just going back there, you can see an example of the many specific one-on-one brand stores that are moving in China. Now, Sarah's going to take you through an example of a company which we all know very well.
Yeah. Okay. On Tmall, we found this Blackmores specialty store managed by a Chinese company. So this is a very typical case of a brand store run and managed by a third party in China. As you can see from this website, and of course it's a Chinese online store. The Blackmores store offers free gifts to buyers who spend a certain amount of money. Also, they have VIP offerings for frequent buyers, and online shoppers can search Blackmores products by the function of the products or by the target users. So this website is really, all these online stores is very user-friendly. The store also offers big discount for a limited time only to push buyers to take action. Its marketing claim for its fish oil product is Australia's #1 fish oil, worth your trust. And it offers a gift pack for people who would like to buy health products for their parents or older people. So when you sell in China, just be aware of all those kinds of cultural or Chinese preferences. For example, the gift culture, family-oriented, the respect to the senior people, and also Chinese preference for branded products and discount.
The other thing you'll notice here is that Blackmores have actually kept the image of Western people in their website. This is to indicate that a lot of the Chinese consumers want to buy what the Western people buy. And so by not changing the actual images within this screen, they've actually shown that this is what Western people use. It's good stuff.
So we talk about some channels, and we talk about the case study of Blackmores, and now let's look at some operational issues. Based on a recent report by Boston Consulting Group, Chinese online buyers do not rely on search engines to search for products. Instead, they will get feedback and recommendations from their friends. Also, they will look at online reviews from other customers before they purchase. And then they usually go to the dominant marketplaces such as Taobao or Tmall. Taobao is #1 B2C platform. Tmall is the #1 B2C marketplace. So people will go to those major players, major marketplaces, and to compare products and shop online. And also China has its own payment system and a very strong logistic and support system. We'll talk about that at a later stage. The first milestone we want to talk about is labeling. Chinese government does require the consumer goods to have Chinese label, but you may keep your English label and then have a Chinese label and stick it on the back, as you can see from the picture, like for this bottle of wine. And you do need to have the expiration date and the production date on the label, and the name of the manufacturers also needs to be on the label as well. Some products are required to have the label registration with the Chinese government. One is one of the products. Before you export one to China, you need to send the label to the Chinese government for approval first.
Right, we talked about packaging before. When preparing your product to be sold online in China, as we mentioned before, there'll be no touch, see, and smell. They'll be looking at the image, the presentation, the packaging, the price. The cultural considerations. Are the colors right? Is your packaging clearly promoting your product? And also take in consideration what Sarah mentioned before, that there's a lot of gift giving in various seasons in China, various times of the year, and for family occasions. So sometimes if you think about your product, where it fits, should it actually be packaged as a gift, or used as a presentation or for a celebration of some sort of event. We also talked about logistics. Obviously, a product as exampled here in this slide would not move by itself. It would be packed in an outer package to survive the journey, whether it be through the Australian mail system going across to China, or if you've got third-party logistics companies in China, arriving at their warehouse, depacking, and then sending out to the final consumer. So there's many things to consider. You may have to actually remodel your product as far as packaging and presentation is concerned. It's a cost you've got to think about. Don't think that the actual packaging you've got today will necessarily work. If you're looking at, we saw wine there, you actually may have to make space on the back of your bottle to now comply with Chinese law. You also, if you're selling a nutraceutical, you may actually have to think about the dual languages on not only your packaging, but on the actual container that contains the nutraceutical itself. You may have to consider some of the elements that come up in product registration. The final thing is wood. The world has agreed that all wood should be treated as it moves from one country to another to minimize the chance of bugs and insects moving from one country to another. All products exported from Australia, whether it be on the pallet or the packaging or the case, should be using quarantine-approved timber packaging if you're using timber packaging. If you can move away from timber packaging, it's just going to remove one less inspection at the other end. So it is quite important to think about the cost of making your packaging culturally sensitive, convenient for logistics, and minimizing the number of inspections that may occur through the journey.
And if you are exporting some products, especially in these three categories, cosmetics, health products, and medical products, you do need to register the product with the Chinese government agency. The process is quite lengthy and in some cases quite costly as well. Let's take cosmetic products or skincare products as an example. you need to apply for hygiene permit and also the certificate of import-export cosmetic labeling verification before you export to China. And the register may take 6 to 9 months, and in lots of cases much longer than that. And usually the registration fee is paid by the suppliers rather than your distributors or agents in China. And China put cosmetic products into 2 categories: the general cosmetic and special cosmetics. Take a general category cosmetic as an example. Usually you will spend between 2,000 to 3,000 Australian dollars for each skincare product unit. And also the import duties is between 6.5% to 15% plus 17% value added tax, and plus 10%, 0 to 30%, in most cases 10% consumption tax.
Now, just on that example of registration, on the previous slide, you actually saw the pathway to getting your product completely registered. A lot of these regulations are in Mandarin. You've actually got to have specialists helping you, otherwise the journey could take substantially longer. It'll also be very important to understand the actual import duties and the VAT taxes and the consumption taxes on your product before you start setting your e-commerce pricing, whether it be out of Australia or through a third-party partner in China. And this is something that Australian Business Solutions can help you with. It's something we do on a regular basis with our members and our clients to help them on this registration journey.
Then talk about marketing. Marketing is just not to have a marketing claim and an advertisement. In China, we talk about Chinese prefer branded products. So at the initial stage, especially if you are selling consumer goods, build your brand is very important. Also, if you're in the service sector, unless Chinese perceive you to be superior or offer better quality services, they won't pay for the premium price. So brand building is also very, very important for the service industry sector. And marketing is really a very systematic project. Like Ian talked about the packaging, and you need to be aware of the cultural issues, package it in the right way so you can have a better image and perceived in a better way. And also, we talked about previously, Chinese customers do review other shoppers' comments before they buy. So if you have any negative reviews from a customer, you really need to act on it quickly. So usually, service providers, your marketing service providers, help you with management of online reviews and marketing. But also, we work very closely with Australian companies on it as well.
Right, just an example of what Sarah mentioned there. The social media in China is a very, very powerful institution. By not having quality customer service or not actually delivering the quality for the price you've actually marketed in China, your product can be taken down by the consumer social media network. They are a very powerful thing. So the key is what Sarah says: do your study right, do your research right, find the best platform to be on, because if you cannot deliver the after-sales service and you are not delivering to the quality versus price, the social media gremlins will come and get you. They are very, very powerful. But let's have a look at a case study here of wine. It's interesting that you'll see it in timber cases, but inside you'll see polystyrene or actually expensively formed cardboard packaging to give the product the presentation as a gift in this case, which we talked about. A lot of products on e-commerce are gifts. But the interesting thing is the bottle and the label design. The Chinese are basically very happy with the European model. what the bottle looks like, what the label looks like. To them, it looks authentic, high-quality wine. Presentation is absolutely critical in presenting wine products to the consumer. The consumer is willing to pay a premium for a better packaging, a better bottle, because it's actually representing him should he be giving it to someone else, or representing her should she be giving it to somebody else. So the quality of the wine and the packaging and the label actually adds an attribute to the giver, to the receiver. It's interesting that even though in Australia we know that the screw cap is probably a better sealing for wine, the Europeans have actually told them that cork is better, so once again they look for cork. One of the little nuances. And the other interesting thing that came up in a recent exhibition which we assisted Australian wine company in China, the Chinese buyer said this isn't real wine because the bottle hasn't got a dimple at the bottom, and only real wine comes in a bottle with a dimple. It was a nuance that we really hadn't, the winemaker, Australian winemaker hadn't really thought of. But being an entrepreneurial Australian, he was very quick to counter this argument by saying, oh, the Europeans are always ripping off the Chinese. Our bottles are flat on the bottom, therefore they hold more wine. The Chinese consumer thought that for a while and said, yeah, that's pretty logical. So being nimble and but understanding the consumer, understanding some of the questions. They will come through social media. They will come back through questions through your e-commerce website. You've got to be prepared and agile to come back with the right sort of answers to make sure that your product is the one that's going to be purchased by the Chinese consumer.
Okay, talk about payment. China does have its equivalent of PayPal, which is Alipay. PayPal is very rarely used in China, but pretty much each online shopper in China has an Alipay account. Alipay works pretty much the same model as PayPal, and it's owned by the Alibaba Group, who also owns Tmall and Taobao. And China also works on cash on delivery. So in that case, your logistics firms will collect cash on your behalf when they deliver the product to the end customers or businesses. And also Chinese do use credit card, but I would say MasterCard and Visa card are less popular than the Chinese local UnionPay credit card. So you do need to consider and offer the option for the Chinese to pay with Chinese local credit card. Otherwise, you're kind of like screwing your customers. Logistics-wise, you will find both Chinese local logistics firms and international logistics firms, and such as FedEx, DHL. But I would say Chinese local logistics firms are much more efficient and cost-effective. But lots of them are regional players. So considering the geographical capability of such logistics firms, you do need to work with multiple logistics firms. Okay, we have talked about some operational issues, and last but not least, I would highly recommend you to prepare mentally and psychologically for China before you start working on the China market. A couple of years ago, my colleagues and I were commissioned by Austrian Business Foundation to conduct a study on Austrian companies doing business with China. And then we wrote a book, Engage China, the Realities for Australian Businesses. During that study and research, we found lots of Australian companies had this kind of like perception or stereotypes of what China would be or should be. And lots of people think, okay, China is a fast-growing third world country. It's huge with lots of population and customers. But lots of people are not quite aware of that China it's more like 30 countries rather than one country when you look at China as a market. Because the subcultures in different regions, the dialect, the business practice is very different, so you do need to prepare for such complexity in the marketplace. And also, lots of companies may think, okay, China is a huge market, probably only large corporates can really work well in China. Actually, what we found is small companies are more nimble, flexible, and quick to respond to the changes in the China market. So lots of small global enterprises, or we call it macro multinationals, which is basically say if it's a one-man band company and that outsources manufacturing to manufacturers here in Australia or in other countries, maybe even in China, and then you leverage your distributors or agents in China to sell into the Chinese market. So you can leverage all those external capabilities and then respond quickly to the marketplace. So if you're targeting a specific niche market, this model really works well for lots of small global enterprises. And we talk about the complexity in the market. I think being nimble, being quick, and flexible is very important to adapt yourself in the face of complexity.
So let's do some basic wrap-ups. But before we move through to this last slide, there's a couple of issues that we'd like you to consider. Sarah was talking about the online payment systems in China, but should your website be so structured that the landing places on your Australian website, obviously Chinese purchasers can use your traditional payment gateways, whether that be through PayPal, Secure Pay, online credit cards, etc., etc. So depending on the model you're using, if you're using third-party providers and partners in China, you'll have to move your website into the Chinese method of payment. If you're using it selling directly out of Australia, your typical payment gateway works, and your normal trading terms and conditions apply. The other thing we talked about there is the logistics providers. There were some queries about regional China. There are consumers in what we call even down to the 4th and the 5th tier, which basically brings you into villages and small towns. There are buyers out there with the wealth to buy online good quality consumer products, but unfortunately you have to think about the logistics company in China. Do they actually go to those regions? So before you start accepting orders, you must work with your logistics company. You may have 3 or 4 logistics companies that specialize in certain geographic regions that will get to these remote villages, but think carefully before you start accepting these orders. Can you actually get it to all the places in China that may be your purchaser? So getting back to here, I think the first thing you've got to get in your mind is that there's 1 billion visits per month by people clicking on to have a look at opportunities online. There's no single model, but you yourself have got to master the relationships, whether it be your e-commerce platform provider, your third-party partner in China, your logistics suppliers in China, and you've got to understand their business culture, why they're in business, how they're making money, and once you have the understanding of that relationships and the culture, you'll work out that the single model may not work for you. You've got, as Sarah mentioned again and again, you've got to be focused, you've got to be agile. The power of social media to either promote or destroy your product is there. We've got a lot of case studies where products have been totally destroyed because of bad performance of the online seller. Once again, you've got to be obviously proficient in your business fundamentals. You've got to keep up to date with the new knowledge on China. There's a plethora of websites out there that are giving you updated knowledge on what products are moving, who the main players are, what methods Chinese e-commerce buyers are using to select product. Sometimes you've actually got to step back and do a reality check. It is a huge potential. Are you putting up a product on an e-commerce website that you can actually service yourself? If you've got 1,000 buyers in tomorrow, are you capable of handling that sale? Because if you're not capable of handling the sale, once again, the social media gremlins will come in and start talking beside each other. The sales, so the delivery of this product from this website is absolutely poor. They promise 3 days and it's taking 3 months. You might as well close down your website and start again. So it's a big thing there. Take a reality check. What's your internal capabilities of actually delivering an outcome to an e-commerce buyer? But also, as Sarah mentioned, sometimes the small global enterprise can be much more nimble than a larger corporate, which may have a large decision-making process to go through to actually be an agile, quick-reacting export e-commerce player. You've also got to think about what are you going to do with your web page? How you actually think about the model that you're going to use in China. Are you going to use multiple models? Or are you actually going to have Mandarin pages on your website? Are you actually going to have a Mandarin shopping cart? Are you going to make it very easy for the Chinese buyer to buy something because it's very clear in his or her language and gives them the capability of actually understanding what they're doing, how to do it, how your website works, the claims you're making, and the importance of the brand and who's going to be using it. So you may have to reconsider yourself, do I put another page on my website, or do I put another 2 pages on my website? Because I'm trying to enter this market in a professional manner. I want people to buy my product. I want people to talk about my product. I want my brand to be recognized. And if it's all in English, even though there is a lot of English capability within China, the online consumer will feel much more comfortable reading and operating and purchasing in his own language. Now, that basically concludes what Sarah and I have got to share with you today. We will be putting this up as a YouTube video on the australianbusiness.com.au website. And it will be available for continual viewing and review. We will not be putting out the PowerPoint presentation to the individuals.
So we have an Austrian Business Consulting and Solutions channel on YouTube, so it will be uploaded to that channel. But we will send you the link to the video to the channel.
Right, now we've got a couple of questions that have come through at registration point. Well, what we're going to do, as I said in the beginning, we'll try and answer some of the very simple questions. If they're more detailed, Sarah will be coming back to you directly via phone to discuss your particular and maybe more comprehensive question. I think we've answered the questions on credit cards. They are generally accepted on most websites.
And product registration? Yes.
Product registration, that is a journey. We've got a question here saying that the last quarter shows that economic growth is slowing in China. How will this, I can't see the question, the way we advertise in China. The high wealth consumers who use online shopping as their mode of purchase for quality goods will not be affected by a a slowing in growth. That mainly sits in the infrastructure, government sectors, not in the consumer spending place.
And I would say even it's slowing, it's not like reducing. It's still growth, but rather than growth at a double-digit speed, it's just back to still 7.4, 7.5, which is much above the average, say 2-3% in OECD countries. So the double-digit growth on a smaller foundation probably is more possible, but when you look at the economic foundation, the economic size of China today, it is still quite good at 7.4, 7.5% growth, annual growth.
But we also have a question here about certificates of origin issued by eCertify. eCertify is not an issue of certificates of origin. They're just a pathway to get your certificate to us, which we will attest. They're just like a post office box. Yes, in most 95% of the cases, Chinese customs officials accept the online certificates. There's one or two places, but if they're printed out in colour, 9 times out of 10 they will work. In fact, 99 times out of 100 they'll work. It's important to get your importer or your freight forwarder to print it out in colour, not in black and white, so it looks like an original document, because it is an original document.
Yeah, and also we get some questions on the screen during the webinar session. One question is, do Chinese buyers trust a small e-commerce site or stick to the global players like Taobao? I would say, of course, large players like Tmall, Taobao, and the established players like Tmall, Taobao are more trustworthy. And also, considering the dominant place of Tmall and Taobao, usually when Chinese buyers go online for shopping, they will go straight to those major marketplaces. So you actually have a better exposure on the major e-commerce marketplace. Another question, is how do Chinese e-marketplace earn money? How do they earn money? Quite a few models. For example, Tmall charge you a fixed deposit and a management fee plus a percentage of your transaction fee, depending. That percentage depends on the product category.
So what you've got, you actually put down a deposit with the platform provider, and if his commissions do not reach the contracted or agreed target,
they also charge an annual management fee.
He will take the
management fee.
He'll take the management fee, but he'll take some of that deposit. But if his commissions exceed the deposit, everybody's happy, and we just move forward. So there's a number of ways the e-commerce provider will take a clip. He's also got services outside his normal transactional things that can help you optimize your sale. From my understanding, there's a question here on rankings on Baidu. Is the same way it works for Google. From my understanding, that's correct. If your website is fully optimized and is being searched as you do in Australia, your optimization obviously plays an important part.
Yes, search engine optimization does work in China with the Chinese search engine like Baidu. The criteria how they rank the company or how you can come on the top of the through organic search, that is the Baidu's criteria is a little bit different from Google, but you do need to work on search engine optimization if you like to leverage Chinese search engine to promote your services. But also social media, I see I mentioned about social media before, it plays a very important part. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube are forbidden in China, but China does have its own like equivalent of Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So you need to leverage those platforms And also China has Weibo and WeChat. Weibo is like kind of mini blog. So you do need to leverage all those social media to market your products and services. Another question we get here is B2C, how is the logistics side work? Does the manufacturer arrange the postage themselves? The postage is included when you sell the product to the Chinese. You add it when they do the calculation. So they say the fee they pay, and then that is postage. So when the website or the e-shop will automatically show the total number with a breakdown of the cost of the product and the postage to the customer. So the customer actually, end of the day, the customer pays for the postage. But as you can see, for example, if you buy from some Australian website, they probably offer you free shipping if your purchase over a certain amount. That same case applied with lots of Chinese online stores.
So basically what you've got to do is clearly work out the model of your engagement in China. If you're shipping bulk products to China with your third-party partner, there'll be a logistics chain and costings worked out with that partner in China, so you can actually work out your final retail price and any incentives you give for volume purchasing. If you're exporting directly from Australia on an individual one-by-one basis, yes, Australia Post has a service which is utilised by a substantial number of e-commerce providers who sell offshore, and you've also got your traditional courier companies, DHL, UPS, FedEx, etc., that also offer e-commerce distribution logistics services to other countries. So once you've worked out your model of where you want to be and where you actually want to have the transaction take place, whether it's in Australia or China, you can then start working out your logistics costs and pricings. Once again, this is something that Sarah will be happy to discuss with you and to develop which is the correct strategy for your product. Now, folks, we've come to our end of our time. I know we haven't got to every question that's popped up. As I said, Sarah will be in touch with you in the very near future to go through your individual question. We trust that Sarah and I have been able to enlighten you on the journey to e-commerce trading in China, and please feel free to contact us at any time.
Yeah, we are happy to work with you on your strategy, your suitability for the China's e-commerce market, and then we'll discuss what's the best channel for you to sell into China. And also we can work with you on the marketing side and implementation side as well.
And just finally, we do have in-house capability to help you build your web pages in Mandarin and actually work out the strategy on how best to present your website for an overseas market like China. Thank you.
Thank you.
And have a great day.
Thanks.